In episode 58 of the Whisky and Things podcast, we taste a couple of whiskies from Elixir Distillers' single malt of Scotland range, a Linkwood and a Kalila.
And joining us in tasting these whiskies and sharing their own origin story is Elixir's international sales manager, Chanel Liquori.
As always, you can find some more whiskey pictures, videos, little clips from the show on all our social media platforms at Whisky and Things Podcast on Instagram and at Whisky and Things on Facebook and Twitter.
And we've had 24 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, Nick. Can you believe that? 24!
I want more.
I think we could get to 25 this week. Please give us a moment of your time and go and give us a review.
You're listening to the Whisky and Things podcast with Dave Giles and Nick Kent.
Welcome to episode 58. I'm Dave Giles.
And I'm Nick Kent. This is the Whisky and Things podcast.
Hey, Nick, I was thinking about this. At what point do we just drop the number? And just be like...
Never.
If we just keep doing this forever, at some point we're welcome to episode 4322.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right, okay, cool.
What's wrong? People might think, I've missed the last one. I've got to go back. 4,351. I missed that one. I've got to go back.
Good point.
And it's fun. Yeah. It keeps us in check, to be honest.
Well, yeah, as long as you've written the right number down.
Yeah. I did today, didn't I?
You did.
Did I today? Nice hat, Dave. Nice
Thanks
hat.
very much. Yeah, Nick very kindly for my birthday, which was lovely. Thanks for asking. Said, sent me...
Sorry, I bought you a hat. I remembered your birthday. Your birthday episode was last week.
Yeah, he sent me this beautiful hat. Actually, it's really nice. With Whisky and Things written on it in our logo.
Exclusive.
It's really nice.
We're not even selling those.
I'll be honest, I've not taken it off. I really love this hat. So it's very comfy.
It's a flex fit, mate. It's a flex fit.
It's really nice. Just really nice.
Yeah. I'm glad you like it.
So
watch the videos, Nick, to see what that hat looks like, everyone.
Yes.
But there we go. Anyway, we got a great guest this week, Dave.
We have. Let's just crack on with it, shall we?
We've just got off. We forgot that we had to record this bit, so we've just been chatting again after the interview.
We were having such a good time. We were like, should we have a bit more of a chat? And we did. And then I remembered.
Your words were, we finished, then we can have a party.
Oh, yeah. No, it's so true. And we went and got more whiskey.
Yeah.
And then suddenly I was like, Nick, we
got to finish the episode.
Got to finish the podcast. So this week we were joined by Chanel Liquori, the international sales manager of Elixir Distillers. Now, in episode 45, our Burns Night episode, we were lucky enough to have their brand ambassador, Julie Hamilton, on the show to tell us about 3 of their releases.
We did, and we met Julie and Chanel back in September during the virtual whiskey show with their online tastings, and they also did some epic quizzes and all that kind of stuff. Great fun. So we had Julie on a few weeks ago, as Dave said, for episode 45. So we thought we'd introduce you to Chanel this time, who has a little bit of a different role in the company, which we're going to delve into. And she also sent us 3 beautiful whiskies as well, 2 of which we're going to have in the show, and the third one will be an extra special episode on video for our patrons.
Absolutely. So we're about to play our chat with Chanel, and just so you know, before we started, I asked her how to pronounce her surname, and this is something I clearly struggle with. So here's our chat with Chanel Liquori of Elixir Distillers.
Liquori.
Here's our chat. I practiced it so much.
Hello, editor Nick here. Just to let you know that Chanel's audio is a little noisy in parts during this interview. Completely our fault, so we apologise. It's still an entertaining discussion, and we hope it doesn't affect your listening experience too much. I hope you enjoy. Cheers.
Welcome to Chanel Liquori of Elixir Distillers. Thanks so much for joining us. To me, you're always going to be Cocoa Pop, so I probably will refer to you as that from now on. But that's a whole other story.
Quizmaster Cocoa Pops.
Yes. Quizmaster Cocoa Pops is in the house. So, Chanel, thanks very much for joining us. Before we get on to some whiskey, and your role in particular, can you let us know your whiskey origin story? How did you get into whiskey, and what was your path before you got to Elixir?
Oh my goodness, yes. I started as a bartender. I was called in because a friend of mine was short-staffed one night and needed a bar back, and I went and worked at a Mexican restaurant in Auckland, New Zealand, and was a bartender for about 15 years after that. So much to my mother's delight. I worked behind the bar at some really good cocktail bars across New Zealand and Australia. I was really lucky to do so, and worked for some brands as well. So it's just sort of like a natural progression. You either stay behind the bar, you want to own your own bar, and move that way, or what I wanted to do, which was start repping. I was repping for Pernod Ricard back in New Zealand, and then moved on to Bacardi brands. And I wasn't digging the big corporate life, to be fair. So went back to bars and toddled around there for a little bit. And I was lucky enough to get an opportunity with some independent bottlers of whiskey. I had been working at a whiskey bar in Melbourne for quite a while. And I got this opportunity to work with some indies over New York. So I became the brand ambassador for that boutique whiskey company for a couple of years across the US. So I was the brand ambassador for the USA. And through that, I was in Chicago one day, and I was headed to an amazing whiskey show that no longer happens called Whiskey Jubilee, which was great fun when it was on. It's a great story, Chanel, considering it's not on anymore. And on my way down the elevator, I could see there was a guy who had the same pull-up banner sort of style bag on him, as well as like a wheelie bag, which clearly had whiskey samples in it, just like my bag had. But I had pre-ordered my Uber, and so my Uber shows up, and this gentleman's Uber does not show up. And I was like, would you like to come with me? I'm guessing you're going to Whiskey Jubilee. And he is my boss now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So he heard I was looking for a job, and he asked me if I wanted to move to London. And yeah, I moved 3 days before lockdown.
Crazy.
The first lockdown. Yeah.
We met you at the whiskey show, the virtual whiskey show in October.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it still felt like you still hadn't moved in because of that. It still felt like you were finding your feet because obviously most of your stuff was the other side of the world and you hadn't been able to get to it. That must have really sucked.
I mean, it's just really crazy. I can probably count on a number on one hand how often I've been into that office in Park Royal, and I've never met Julie Hamilton.
Nuts.
Yeah, our brand ambassador, our global brand ambassador. I've never met her face to face. I have no idea how tall she is. She tells me she's 6 foot.
Oh, definitely.
I think she's lying. But
Of course, we had Julie on a few weeks back, didn't we, Nick? What episode was that?
January.
Yes.
Was it 35 or 45? 45. Yeah, it was our Burns Night episode, Dave.
Oh, of course.
Oh, yes. Nice. Great lady.
Of course.
Great lady.
Yeah, and the four of us obviously spent a night together virtually at the whiskey show.
Virtually networking.
Virtually networking, and it got a bit crazy. And all I will say is that I got a load of abuse for ordering a pizza with pineapple on. And I'm still scarred by the amount of abuse I got to this day.
It's good enough for The Rock, mate. It's good enough for anyone.
I felt like my life choices were were and truly being judged.
Well, I'm pretty sure a couple weeks later I ordered a pineapple pizza and decided to tag you in it as well as me. And I caught some abuse, mate. I was trying to stand up for you, but
I appreciate that. I do appreciate that.
I think we were just jealous that you were eating because all of us were really hungry.
You cooked something. You started cooking. That's why I ordered the pizza.
Yeah. You were doing your washing up, I think.
Yeah, you were cooking. You were
tidying your kitchen.
You had a whole thing going on.
Shaming
I don't remember
that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think it may have been the fact that I ate a whole large pizza all on my own. Anyway, back
to it. It says on the Elixir website, you're an award-winning bartender.
Oh, God.
Tell us about that, and don't be humble.
I entered some competitions and won them.
Nice.
Yay.
Thank you.
Right, let's have a whiskey.
You know what? I'll be really honest with you. I loved bartending. I was good at it to a point till I got really sick of it and sick of bartending, sick of the people.
I was going to say, is it? Yeah, that makes sense.
And I look at what some of the bars are doing now, and I'm like, man, I could not. I could not keep up with some of the stuff that they're doing in terms of flavor. So yes, I won some awards, but probably those techniques are out of date these days. So.
Is there a signature Cocoa Pops cocktail?
Well, one of the coolest ones I ever did, I may have peaked with this one. It was a take on a black velvet. It was for Glenfiddich. So a black velvet is Guinness and whiskey.
Oh, have I never had that?
And no, it's not. It's Guinness and champagne. Anyway, and I did Guinness and whiskey because yes, delicious. And I topped it with a roast potato ice cream.
Okay.
What?
I wasn't expecting ice cream after that.
Yeah.
It was delicious. Okay, it was really good.
Wow.
I had a new ice cream maker, and I was like playing the game. Can you make ice cream out of it? And
yes,
instead of roast potato lying around.
So, yeah, I had some roast potatoes.
It was Monday, I'm guessing. It was Monday afternoon.
Whipped up
You had a
the
spud waiting from the day before.
Can you make ice cream out of it? What a game! What a game! Oh, if only I'd known we could have had an ice cream maker set up here. That could have been the whole podcast.
You did it, man.
Episode 58. Can you make an ice cream out of it? Talking of which whiskies did you ever make an ice cream out of?
Well, I made a couple. I wanted to try a smoky. It's a little bit harder. But that one was for Glenfiddich. That was for a Glenfiddich 14. But I did an Ardbeg one as well at some point.
Nice.
It was good.
Nice. I saw actually, Nick. I posted you in a. I tagged you in
the Viennetta thing.
The Viennetta mixed with someone from Starwood, the brand ambassador from Starwood, posting a Viennetta cocktail with whiskey. It looked incredible. Australian whiskey. Maybe it's a Southern Hemisphere thing, Nick. You know,
maybe it
it's
is
hot down there, man.
Yeah,
you need the cold drinks.
It was when I was in Melbourne, actually.
You need the cold dairy.
Just down the road.
You need the alcohol and dairy. Yeah, that was a great mix.
Apparently that's
yeah. Milk was a bad choice. Talking of like the hot weather and everything like that, do you have a go-to summer whiskey cocktail?
I mean, I'm a highball lady, to be fair. I like really simple, beautiful Japanese style or lighter style whiskeys, soda, lemon. That's sort of me, to be honest.
Yeah, I was drinking them last week actually, and had one with the Hibiki.
Oh, did you tell me this?
It was on my birthday. I decided to have a Hibiki highball, and it was delightful.
There is Nika Days. Dude, it's awesome. Yeah, for days.
For days.
You're listening to Whisky and Things. Not bad for a couple of Brits.
Your title is International Sales Manager at Elixir. Tell us a bit more about what that role entails.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So sales is a bit of a misnomer, I think, in the title. I do sell things, but it's really quite relationship based. So I take care of export sales for Asia Pacific and the US. So it kind of encompasses everywhere I'm from. I am American and I am a Kiwi, so I got to look after some of the best countries in the world and America.
Oh, we have one listener in America. They're going to be annoyed.
Is that how? Have I just realised that I've been saying your name wrong? Should it be Likiwi?
Likiwi.
Chanel Likiwi. Has anyone ever called you that?
No, that's a new one.
Likiwi.
That's a new one, mate.
It kind of works.
That's good.
Cocoa Pops the Kiwi.
So who are you selling to? Are you selling barrels of whiskey to people, or are you selling the bottles to different bars and all that kind of stuff?
So no, we don't really deal with the bars and the retailers as much. We deal with the importers and distributors.
Right.
That tier. Okay. So we'll maybe create some cool promotions that those distributors then can bring to the bars and retailers, but typically we're dealing on the next tier up, which is quite cool.
Right.
For an independent bottler, do you actually get a lot of your bottles into bars? Because it must be quite a tough job trying to compete with the more established Jamesons, Glenfiddich and Jack Daniels that you see in every bar. Obviously, you've got your specialist whiskey bars, but would you see a bottle of Elixir in many standard bars or not really?
I think you can see some Portuskeg out there a little bit. Obviously, with our rum Black Tot, it's out there. I would say Asia's set up differently, right? They have, when you talk about those specialist whiskey bars, that's a thing. That's a big thing over there. So we see it a lot in those bars.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's not as niche and few as we'd think of it here or in the States. But no, like single barrel independent bottlers, not often. Mm-hmm. Not unless you're really quite focused on whiskey. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One day.
Well, exactly. Nick, that's it. Positive thinking there.
One day.
Absolutely.
It's nice to have, it's actually, when you find those bars that have something kind of special behind the bar like that you get to try. And then the next week, once it's gone, it's gone and there'll be a new cool thing behind the bar to try. It's always really nice. But you gotta kind of search out and find those bars.
Yeah. I don't know in many bars in London that are good for whiskey. You probably already know more whiskey bars than I do. And the only one I knew that had decent whiskey was the Crowbar, and that was only bourbon, which you probably would have hated.
Crowbar,
yeah. If memory serves me correctly, you're not a bourbon drinker. Is that a subject you don't want to talk about with whiskey? Is there an area of whiskey that you'd rather not ever discuss? No, bourbon or Irish whiskey or maybe even Tasmanian whiskey. Is there a whiskey that you just think, no, don't even go there?
Probably American. I don't know, man. No, I'll talk about it all, but I don't pretend to know everything. And I'll say that I don't really like American whiskey, or I'll say that I don't really like bourbon because I find it too sweet. But then someone will come up with something, will show me something that's bloody awesome. And you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm wrong again. It's great. It has a variation you can get. So, no, typically not really an American drinker, but yeah.
So what is your money, no object whiskey? What would it be?
Well, that's an interesting question.
I used to have a thing for, and it's been a long time since I've had it, the Flora and Fauna range from Diageo, the Mortlock 16. Now, it's probably only 300 pounds a bottle, something like that.
Get two.
Yeah, right. Give me one, yeah. But I used to absolutely love that whenever I get a little dram of it or a little nip from a customer who was being quite gracious. It was always nice.
Lovely.
It's quite nice that we've got Chanel on this week, isn't it? Because it's not, well, I think this may be a first where we've actually got a guest on who has some real breaking news.
Oh, yeah. Well, hopefully. I don't know. We didn't clear it with her. She might not have been in this meeting.
Absolutely. Maybe she doesn't know anything about it.
She might not know anything about it, but we're going to play the theme tune anyway.
This is a big deal for us because you're a guest and you get to have the theme tune come on.
Yeah.
For our favourite segment, or definitely my favourite theme tune, Booze Round.
It's called Booze Round.
Booze Round.
This is a mini booze round, everyone.
Interesting.
So, it was announced last week that Elixir have appointed Georgie Crawford as Distillery Manager of the forthcoming Islay Distillery. What information can you share about that project, if anything?
I don't know if I know very much, mate. You probably know as much as I do. I know that we still don't have a name, but it's getting closer.
Oh, interesting.
I know that it will not be Farkin. I don't know if you've heard that yet, but that is probably some of the funniest names that I've heard.
Kid.
Yes, and that is Miss Julie Hamilton's fault. She told people that, so one of the estates that's part of the land is called Farkin Estate. She's like, please, can we call it Farkin Distillery? Farkin Whiskey, please. Ollie Chilton is like, absolutely not. No. So there's some information that's not true.
Thanks. That's good. How far is it? Is it built yet?
No, it's not built yet. We're looking at, I sometimes hear end of 2022, 2023. It's probably more realistic. I am still trying to work out quite where it is. I've only been to Islay once, so and I wasn't really paying attention to the places that didn't have a distillery on it. so Julie knows a little bit more. It's when you first turn off at Port Ellen and you're heading towards Lefroy and Lagavulin and Ardbeg, and it's before you hit those distilleries. And she's like, with that house that's there. And I'm like, I was not looking at houses. That is not what I was looking for. Got no idea. Yeah, it's exciting. I know that it's taking up a lot of brain time of Ollie, who is my boss at the moment. He's working really hard at making sure everything's done right, especially for Islay and Islay over on the island. So, yeah, it's very interesting, and it's such a coup to have Georgie. It's going to be really cool to work with her, I think.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of her before, but I read the article. Yes. What?
I read the article.
Right. Yeah. Recent manager for Lagavulin and Port Ellen Revival Project. It's all there. It's all there.
Kind of a big deal.
I'll put a link to it in the description.
I was going to say, we haven't even mentioned an article, and you just go, oh yeah, I read the article. Article.
Well, the research I did today.
Right, excellent.
Yes.
Yeah.
But cool. Thank you very much for that.
Hot off the press.
Hot off the press.
Yeah, it's exciting, dude. It's exciting.
That's
Booze round.
That was good. I like it.
You like that?
I do, yeah.
Right. Okay. So, shall we talk about some whiskey then?
Let's do it.
Woo!
So,
Whiskey
where did that
bus,
come from?
Roll out.
He scared the crap out of me. He's only just got the ability to start doing that recently.
I see.
So
It's like those radio DJs that just play like sound bites.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's got the little buttons now, and he's having a great time with it.
I am Handsome Dan.
On radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, great face for radio.
Okay, so I have sent, so we are going to be trying 2 single malts of Scotland, single barrels, single casks.
Yep.
The first one is a Liquid from 2011. So it's a 9-year-old Liquid, 57.7%. It is a sherry, but ex-sherry. I chose this one because Liquid is typically a very light, I find, very light, very grassy, quite appley. And then this addition of sherry, honestly, this came out beginning of this year, and it's one of my favorites so far this year. I want you to try it.
Oh dear.
I'm definitely getting the apples and cherries.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that's coming from the sherry.
I think so, yeah.
Some sweet cherry in there. It doesn't smell like a 57% whiskey.
No, I'll be really honest with you. A lot of the stuff that Ollie does, so Ollie is our head of whiskey. Any of the higher proof whiskeys that we do are dangerous. They're beautiful. They're easy to drink. And then the next thing you try to get up off your stool and you're like, no. Oh, good Lord.
Man, this smells amazing. If you could turn this into a scented candle, I would love it.
Every episode.
Can you have a word with someone at head office and see if they're working on scented candles? Because I think it'd be the perfect companion.
A lot of distilleries do scented candles,
Do they?
In the gift shop. Mm-hmm.
We need to visit more
we haven't
distilleries.
managed to get to any gift shops. Into one distillery.
Yeah, they didn't
What
have a gift
distillery
shop.
did you guys go to?
Bimber.
The one that's round the corner
Bimber,
from
yeah.
your office.
I haven't been to yet. Yes, that one.
Oh man, this smells amazing. I'm gonna start tasting it. Nick, are you getting anything special on that?
No, I'm just looking at the colour. It's a beautiful amber.
It's like every one of my favourite boiled sweets.
Yeah, I get that quite a bit, mate, too.
I'm going to have a taste.
Like those strawberries and cream.
Oh yeah. Oh, that fills the mouth, doesn't it, Nick? Oh, there's a sweetness at the end. Oh. You right there, Nick?
Nick is just dying, everybody.
Nick's turned a different shade of red.
That is glorious.
You sure?
Yeah, it was like
Are you okay?
Are you okay?
That was like a fruity, fizzy sweet.
Oh wow! I mean, that's really special.
Cool, right?
That is beautiful. What's the damage on this? How much is this going to set us back?
60 pounds. 60 pounds, dude.
60 quid?
That's great value for something that tastes this good. You can tell this is a sherry finish, or it's been in a sherry cask, but it's got all my favourite. I'm a big sherry person with whiskey. It's my favourite ones are always the sherry ones. Mm-hmm. So I think it's no surprise that I'm absolutely loving this.
I love the fact, like I said, liquid is quite light. And I was really worried when I was initially told that this was a sherry butt, that the sherry was actually going to take over the whiskey.
Yeah.
You know, just be too whiny. And my guess is it's not a first fill sherry.
Well, I was going to say, it's quite light for a sherry butt, I think.
I mean, it's 9 years old, but yeah, you're right. It wasn't too juicy a cask, for sure.
Nice. I've never heard that expression, and I love it. Love a juicy cask.
Gotta love a juicy cask.
Gotta love a juicy cask.
I can't say juicy butt, can I? No.
Yeah, you can, because it was a juicy butt.
Yeah, okay. Then it's correct.
It is correct.
It's a juicy butt.
You're just going to keep saying it now.
I cannot lie.
What, you like juicy butts and you cannot lie?
Exactly.
I guess that's why I say that my role's not really sales. Like
your role is banter.
That's what I'm selling. Do you know what I mean? Like people are like, okay. It's more about like, how much am I allowed? And you're like, oh, this sales job is easy. You know, but man, I'm a good salesperson.
I'm getting chocolatey vibes off this as well.
Yeah, I get the chocolate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I have a little bit of it, I get. When I take a big swig, it's not there, but a little sip and there was a chocolate there, yeah.
We saw what happened when you took a big swig.
Yeah. He was so excited.
It was.
I thought we were going to lose you for a moment, Nick. I'm not going to lie.
So I haven't seen Liquid around. Did they do their own official bottlings? Or they're mainly IBs?
So it's a Diageo brand. Mainly you're going to see this as a flora and fauna range. So Diageo put out, for each of their distilleries, puts out one bottle called part of the flora and fauna range.
Okay.
Uh-huh. And it's meant to be like the epitome of that distillery.
Right.
I think it runs at a 12-year-old when you get it. Mm-hmm.
This is super. I can't believe this is only £60 because this is super tasty.
Wow.
It's really. We were saying this, how it's amazing how my thought process behind what a good price whiskey has changed over the last year. When we started out, I was like, £40 for a bottle of £40.
£40.
£40.
That's a birthday present.
Oh my God, that's yeah. I'm like, whew, who's spending that on a bottle of whiskey? 40 or 14. What? And now I'm like, £60. That's so cheap.
That's great value.
That's such great value.
We had the same conversation with Julie.
Did we?
Yeah. Whoops. No. Since you sang about these whiskeys,
we're like, recycling chat to me? Yeah. Is that what you're doing? That's all right. That's fine.
Right. When Nick writes the script, that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I've written down so we don't say what we did last time.
Did you write that bit? I must have missed that bit. Whoops. No, this is... And also, I don't think that this tastes like a 9-year-old whiskey. This feels like a lot more complex, and it's been sat down for a lot longer than that. Maybe that's because it's a higher ABV. But it's that crazy balance of not feeling like it's 57%, but not being overpowered. There's so much right with this. There's so much right with this.
Right, yeah.
It's just everything you want for a sherry cask Speyside, in my opinion.
Oh, it's got a long burn finish. I like that. Oh yeah, that's a comforting dram. There we go.
Yeah, love that. Cool. Thank you very much.
You're listening to the Whisky and Things podcast.
Right, what's next? So this is also on the Single Malts of Scotland range, right?
Yeah, so this one was released at the beginning of this year. All of these are from the beginning of this year. This release.
Okay, cool.
Great.
New releases, nice.
Yeah,
well, I suppose that happens quite a lot with IBs.
For this sort of range, which is single cask, and trying to spread them across the world, it can happen pretty fast.
Yeah. I mean that's pretty crazy, isn't it? Because they must sell out pretty quick. But you're trying to put some in every region rather than just like this would probably sell out just in England and Scotland, or like in Britain, without having to export it, but you want to have that global brand. So therefore you have to say, right, we're only putting 50 bottles in GB, we're going to put 50 in Asia, 10 in America because they won't get it. So
you run this kind of tight line actually of like wanting to increase your markets, like wanting to grow by opening up in China and opening up in Malaysia and doing all of this, but then also being like, and we have 3 bottles for you. You are welcome. Go forth and sell, and build our brand. And it just doesn't work like that. So what we actually we changed it this year. After this batch, we changed it so that Europe and Canada, they get 1 cask, and then Asia Pacific gets 1 cask.
Right.
And America is just different anyway.
Right. That makes sense. That makes a lot more sense. There's no point trying to spread it too thin, basically.
Oh, it got really ridiculous by the end.
Yeah.
By the end of last year, you're like, okay, if I give Hong Kong one of these, but not one of these, and then Taiwan can have and you're just like, this is
not going to work.
It's going to work now.
Yeah. So if I was in Hong Kong, I wouldn't be able to buy a bottle of this.
This one, yes, you can.
Right, but the
so
next...
This was at the end, yeah.
Right, understand. Okay, I'm with you.
The newest range that came out, there's sister casks for Europe and Asia Pacific.
Excellent. Okay, so next is we're going to move on to a distillery, which in my mind you can't really talk to Elixir and not mention. I think I'm saying this right. Is it Kalila?
Nailed it, mate. That's amazing. And thank you so much for doing that kind of research on who we are as a brand, as Elixir Distillers, and where we feel our
Dave works really hard on that stuff.
Our home is.
Dave's on it.
Absolutely.
It's almost like you reached into my brain and said it exactly how I would have.
Yeah. Well,
fascinating.
I spent enough time at the Elixir Distillery stand in October.
You did
to pick up on these kind of things.
People's surnames, all that kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, how to pronounce. Pronunciation has always been my strong point, and we all know that. Excellent.
In fairness, everything that I have written in a spreadsheet with phonetics.
Oh, really? Yeah, you kind of have to, don't you?
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
Even just the simple ones like Glenelgin, you can go out there and say Glenelgin and people are like, no.
Yeah.
You gotta have it all there.
Some of these Scottish names are just crazy, aren't they? They just, there's even like a big discussion of whether it's Balvenie or Balvenie but like something that you would think would be fairly simple is just a nightmare.
Okay, so you were talking about this back in October about Balvenie.
It's a nightmare.
Clearly you've gotten over it.
No.
Balvenie.
Balvenie?
No.
It should be simple, but it's not.
Anyway, this Coal Islay. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Koala. 2009. It's a 10-year-old, and it's from that Islay place.
It is from Islay. Oh, good Lord, that just felt dirty coming up. It is from Islay. Kalila is. We have a couple of brands that use. Actually, all our brands use Kalila in some form or another. So, Elements of Islay, Portiskeag, the 8-year-old, and the 100 proof. They are Kalila as well.
Yeah.
What I like about this one, and the reason I chose this one, is Ollie works on a tick system. You don't get flowery tasting notes from him. He works on ticks. So when he goes through and he tastes the 50 casks of Kalila that he gets, he'll go, one means it needs to be re-racked, or we seriously need to figure out something to do with that. 2 is like, okay, this will be good when I blend this together with 40 other casks to make Portiskeag 8. This will work really well. And then 3 is this is standout. And this would have been a standout for him.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is another 58.3%er.
We don't do things by halves, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell. 0.3.
0.3, I was going to say.
Okay. When I first went in, I was like, oh, there's a peat. But actually, that clears pretty quick, and you get into some...
It does, doesn't it?
Very other nice smells. It does, you get past that. Sometimes you just can't clear the peat. It takes forever. But this...
Kalila is typically quite an elegant peat.
Yeah.
I find. So you get to get beneath the peat and get some different flavors in there. I'm always like lemon peppery on this.
No, it is, yeah. I was just thinking that, it's got a citrus vibe to it because the peat's there, but it's almost so kind of subtle. It's just melded together with the other flavours, and it's just.
I feel like I'm smelling limoncello.
Ah,
you getting
that?
Yeah,
a bit like the Macmira we had a few weeks ago. That was limoncello.
Oh, Macmira, very nice.
Yeah, the Bjork Sav had like a citrus limoncello to it, and this is kind of a peatier version of that.
Yeah, this is something like you can imagine, I don't know, barbecued fish and then squeezing lemon.
Oh, yeah. By the shore.
Yeah, this has got barbecue written all over it, actually. It smells really fresh as well.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, this was 10 years, wasn't it? It's a nice colour. And of course, all your whiskies non-chill filtered and non-coloured.
Mm-hmm. You know, I think, because I remember seeing this on the samples, like when you took photos of the samples, this is an 11-year-old, but I think they've written it on the samples. Anyway, it's an 11-year-old, but you weren't to know that.
We'll do a little edit on that.
That's one louder. That's one louder.
One louder. Yeah. We like things turn up to 11. We're musicians. That's all good. I'm getting a strong strawberries and cream vibe off this as well on the nose. Whenever I say something like that, I love watching Nick's face because he does this whole breathe out. And I'm going to reset and I'm going to go and try and find what he's just said. It's amazing. He really starts. I've got to concentrate here. I've got to concentrate
today, right? Because I didn't have any Nick special time with these beforehand, so this is off the fly, and I'm still getting into this tasting thing.
Chanel's face right now.
We've been doing it a year, but I just I turn off all the lights. I put on some nice music, and I have a bit of Nick special time. I lock the door. I take the phone off the hook. And I just delve in.
You have a phone on the hook. So old.
I haven't even got a phone line, let alone a phone.
So now I'm just imagining like a phone with no like.
It's cordless. Yeah, but what he means, Chanel's face was a treat there. Basically, he normally tries it before we do anything, so he feels prepared, which is prudent.
Sometimes it takes me a bit of time to things to come through,
No, it's good though, because I think this is cool to see your first initial reaction. Like it's probably more of a true reaction to it.
Yeah, right. I'm going to start tasting this, Nick. I'm expecting
I had a little taste just now.
Oh, did you? Very, very quick Nick special time.
I got a quick tannin on the tongue with this one.
Did you find it quite drying?
It was, there was a tannin on the tongue, drying kind of thing.
Yes. This is completely different from the other one.
Do you know what casks this was matured in?
This is Hogshead.
Hogshead.
It's just a hoggy refill.
Okay, so what was in it before? Bourbon?
It would have been bourbon, but when you say it's refill, it's been a while since it's seen bourbon.
Oh, okay. So it's first, second fill, I guess, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Nick's more of a peat head than me, and this isn't too peaty or anything like that. I think that's what I really like about this. This is my level of peat, where it doesn't dominate everything. There's so much other stuff going on. It still doesn't feel like it's nearly 60% though. Jeez. If you told me this was 43%, I would have believed you. It's incredibly drinkable for something that's that high ABV.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put a little dash of water in mine.
It's quite thick, isn't it? Like it feels quite thick.
Viscous. Mm-hmm.
And there is that drying element, but weirdly, after a while, your mouth starts watering again. Like the finish isn't drying.
Yes.
Oh yeah, this is really, really tasty. It's actually really fruity after a while. The aftertaste, and this is my other issue with peaty whiskies often, is the aftertaste is just not horrendous, but it's just all peat and smoke. Whereas this, I'm getting a fruitier vibe, that strawberries and cream vibe that I was talking about. I feel like I've had some of those Roundtree's fruit pastels, Nicks. You know how they release their flavour as you go on, and the strawberry one of them, I feel like I've had that. I feel like I've eaten just a few of those.
Oh, okay.
But without it being as sweet as that. But there's definitely, in the end, there's that vibe.
How are you finding it with a bit of water, Nick?
Yes, I'm enjoying it more. A bit more subtle. I didn't put much in. It's definitely taken a bit of the edge off for me.
Are you getting more of that fruity vibe coming through?
I'm getting all the fruits. I'm just having trouble picking them out. That's my issue at the moment. But I'm enjoying it, and that's the main thing. I get a bit too, engrossed in trying to pick things out, and then suddenly my dram's gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There are days, we talk about this a bit at work, because, you have to do tasting notes quite often, and sometimes whiskey just tastes like whiskey.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just tastes like whiskey, and God damn it, it's fine. Like, that's okay.
Do you know, well, that's a really good point. Sometimes we're trying so hard to try and find an exotic flavour to compare it to, when actually it's just a really good whiskey. And that's what this is. This is a really good example of a lightly peated whiskey, in my opinion. Really, the fruitiness, I can't get over that. Some kind of fruit yogurt in there as well. I know we just said about not having to try and find exotic flavours, but...
I don't know if that's that exotic.
No, exactly. But it's definitely it's a thick coating I'm getting on my tongue. I feel like that's the other thing. I feel like I've just had a spoonful of yogurt. A fruity petit falou. Petit falou. Pauvre.
How much is this one, Chanel?
Nick, what do you reckon? Higher or lower? Should we play a game? Higher or lower? Is this higher or lower than the Linkwood? What do you reckon? We've got an extra 2 years.
Extra
2 years, exactly.
We're going higher. I think we're going a bit higher. And it's a higher proof. Only just as well. So, yeah.
Interesting. Islay is inherently more expensive as well. So I would also go higher.
Oh, yeah. And it was a hogshead bigger than a butt? I can't remember the sizes. No, it's not. No, it's definitely not.
There's less of this than there is of the last one.
Yeah, definitely more.
So yeah, I reckon. Nick, what do you reckon? I reckon this is £97 and 53 pence.
I'm going like 80 quid.
Okay, Chanel.
All right, Nick is closer with it's $74.95 as our article.
That's still ridiculous for an Islay like this. I'd say that's ridiculously good value.
And these are both 70 CLs, right? We're talking.
Yeah. 70,
there's no 50s in there. Cool.
No.
Yeah, and this is a single cask as well. I think that's what's even more impressive with the price. Because you think of the Distillers Select of Lagavulin, for example, and that's like a 70, 80 quid bottle of whiskey. And they make more of that than they're making of this. So this is amazing. I'm so happy with it. You guys just keep smashing it out the park.
Oh, I know, man.
We're very grateful.
Same. So am I.
It must be great working for a company like this that actually is producing such high quality. I sound like I'm auditioning for a job when clearly I'm not qualified in any way, shape or form. But it must be nice working for a company that's producing a quality of stuff like this and also not stealing from people. Where actually it's reasonable. Like reasonable is not even fair. This is a bargain for a product like this. There must be other companies out there that, like, I think Johnny Walker is overpriced. And they're selling it based on a brand or an expectation. Whereas actually this is a higher quality liquid than any Johnny Walker Blue I've ever had or variety of. And like compared to the both of these, I would rather drink either of these and pay that amount of money for that bottle and have that bottle on the side. Must be nice working for a company like that. Especially, like, I don't know what Oliver looks like. Every time I've heard about him, I just like the way he sounds. I like the fact he works with spreadsheets.
I was going to say, there's 2 times spreadsheets have come up.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of spreadsheets.
Yes.
But also, you all talk really highly of him and the way he works and how he goes about his business. And I think that must be fun as well. And by the sounds of it, he brings you in on, not necessarily allows you to go be part of the process, but he talks you through what he's done. And therefore, it must be fairly easy to do your job.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to do my job. Don't tell him that. Oh, actually, cut that out. I'm just kidding. It's really tough to do my job. I need more hands. No, it's pretty amazing. I do count my blessings, to be fair. I mean, like I said, I was actually, so to get an idea, I was supposed to start work for Elixir in May of 2020. And I was living in New York, and I don't know if you heard, but New York wasn't doing so great with the pandemic. And he pulled me out early to start early. So I came over to London. It was meant to be for a month, just to see how things were going to go. And I haven't left since. My stuff is still in New York. But yeah, he could see that things were getting bad in New York and made sure that I was over here where he thought it was going to be safer. Jury's still out on that one, Ollie, but the intention was good.
Yeah, he should have sent you back to New Zealand if he wanted you to be safe, that's for sure.
He did say I could, and I was like, oh man, the time difference to try and do work at the same time was going to be too hard. But I do sometimes wonder if that was a poor decision on my behalf. But
it's a good whiskey made by good people and a good company. So more. We look forward to hearing more from Elixir and what you guys are up to. I know I may be a little bit tipsy already. You're right. These go to you. It does not feel like I've had,
mate,
2 glasses of whiskey, but
I ate half a chicken before we did this with all the sides because I knew it was going to blow me away.
What sides, Nick? What sides?
I had potato salad and a coleslaw. It was piri chicken as well, which may have an impact on my taste buds this evening.
Didn't think about that, did you?
I did think about that, but I thought I'd leave an hour and a half and it'd be fine. But here we are, everyone. Here we are.
Yeah. Tastes like Portuguese spice.
Is anyone else getting Portuguese spice? No?
No one?
Anyone else getting poultry?
and onion?
Oh, wonderful.
So, out of the 2 we've had, which would you rather put in a cocktail with roast potatoes? Or roast potato ice cream?
It's a big question.
Oh, it is. That's a big question. Maybe the Kalila. Maybe I would do the Kalila.
I think it would really go well. As I'm literally sitting here thinking, this has got a Sunday roast dinner vibe to it as well. It actually tastes a little bit like Sunday roast.
Yeah.
The whole thing, it's just, it would be perfect.
I'm not getting that, even with the piri.
You're not getting that? Bit of swede, parsnip.
I was sniffing the wrong one. I've actually finished this one. Anyway.
It's all going wrong. So professional. Such a professional show.
Yeah.
So Chanel, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to be recording a bonus. The crowd go wild. You should have used the other one. The other one's better, Nick. The other one's much better.
Isn't it?
Yeah. That does sound like a half-assed applause. There it is.
Oh,
there it is. There it is. Yes. Thank you so much for, one, sharing these whiskey with us and for talking to us a bit more about yourself and what you do. We hope to have you come back again and again and again. I would love it for you to come and make some cocktails for us as well.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that.
I think actually when the world opens up, we should do a whole episode on ice cream and whiskey.
Viennetta.
Just everything. Every kind of, we should just sit down and go, does it work? And try a whole load of different flavoured ice creams with different flavoured whiskies. And just try it like we did with the Jack Daniels thing, Nick, where we tried it with all the different mixes.
What's the one we put in the freezer? That would work with
Dalwhinnie. The Dalwhinnie Winter's Gold.
Gold, yeah, that'd be nice. There we go. Chanel's dubious.
Sounds good. No, I'm down. I'm down. Anytime you guys want me back. Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. Thank you for joining us.
You're listening to Whisky and Things.
So, as always, you can watch the full uncut video of that interview with Chanel on our Patreon page, patreon.com/Whisky and Things. Also, just to mix it up a bit this time, there was a third whiskey, but rather than include that in the same video, we've done a whole bonus episode. There's other chat. We talk about New Zealand, all kinds of stuff, a lot of stuff going on in that. It's really good fun.
Went off.
Nick's fire alarm went off.
Absolutely
and
perfect.
all of that's, we'll put that up maybe in the next 5 or 6 days after the podcast airs. But
it's a 22-year-old Glen Bergie, 1998, and it was absolutely gorgeous.
Amazing.
So listen. Yeah.
So definitely, if you're on Patreon, go and check that out. You'll see me post about it. So make sure you keep an eye in your emails for that post if you're one of our patrons. If you're not one of our patrons, consider it. Consider it. Go over there. Just at least consider it. In fairness, if you're on our top tier patrons, I've also sent you another preview of something that's coming up as well. So get involved over there. And of course, you can find out more about Elixir Distillers and their range of their products on their website, elixirdistillers.com.
Yes, and you can follow their brands, because they have a few, on their social media accounts at Elixir Distillers on Instagram and Facebook, and Elixir Distiller, no S, on Twitter. They also have Elixir Whiskey Club on Facebook as well, so check it out.
Yeah, it's good. I like these kind of things. Nick and I are both a member. We're also a member of the Bimble one. You know, there's stuff going on there. People post stuff in there. They have events, they have tastings, they have quizzes. It's a nice way to get involved.
Indeedy do.
But yeah, I absolutely love Chanel, and I love Julie as well. The two of them are delightful. At some point, the four of us need to get together and do something as well.
That's a treat.
I think next time that needs to happen. The four of us together. It's just always good fun. They're just good people, just really good people. And Elixir. We've not had a bad Elixir whiskey, have we, Nick?
No, we haven't.
So far,
No,
we've had plenty now, and
We've been
they've all
treated.
been amazing.
Yeah.
So, yes, a great company with good people.
Whiskey?
I love this. This is amazing. So that's all the podcast angels are letting us do today.
You like that?
Mate, that's amazing.
I thought I'd mix it up.
Nick wrote that down for me, and I love that.
We'll be back next week with a fun-packed show. Prizes to be won. No, there aren't any prizes. There are no prizes.
Is Pat Sharp coming on? We got to get Pat Sharp. Does Pat Sharp drink whiskey? Who knows? We need to find out.
I'm currently rocking Pat Sharp's 80s haircut at the moment.
Let's get
with this mullet
Pat
going
Sharp on. We'll have the Funhouse episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be amazing. I don't care if he drinks whiskey or not. If you're lucky, Nick, he might bring the twins.
Yeah, but the twins drink whiskey.
I bet they do. Years of working with him. Anyway. You're going to have to edit all that out.
No.
The Funhouse
Twins are
episode.
fun.
Yeah.
Twins are fun. It's all good.
Amazing.
I always wonder why they only changed one tyre on that go-kart. I don't know.
There was a girl. There was the sister of one of the girls in my class at primary school went on Funhouse.
Right.
I mean, that was huge news. To know someone that went on Funhouse.
Yeah. I didn't. No.
Exactly. Because Funhouse. It's just the best.
So you're
It's
saying
just the best, Nick.
you're the mate whose sister went on Funhouse?
Yeah. She was like 2 years older than us, but at the time that feels like a lot when you're at primary school, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
So Funhouse, a whole lot of fun, prizes to be won, and I think that's about all the time that the podcast angels let us do today.
True.
So
they've taken their share.
yeah,
You've had yours, everyone. You've had
Nick,
yours, listeners.
Oh, Nick, that's beautiful.
Do you like that?
That's
I didn't
beautiful.
even write that down.
Oh my God, that's. I was going to say, did you think of that as you wrote it down?
No,
You were setting yourself up for that because that's
No.
beautiful. Beautiful.
Angels have had their share, and so have you.
Oh mate, that might be our new.
I kind of like that.
I think that's got to be our new outro.
I think it might be.
Because for years we've been talking about how do we end this thing. We're both, with the TV show, with the YouTube show, we're like, how do we end this? How do we end this? That's it. Breakthrough moment, episode 58. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. We now have an ending.
Yeah.
Talking of ends it's time to go.
I was going to say, have I finished the show already? Or are we going to do it again? Let's give the cheers. Thanks for coming one more before we do it.
Cheers. Thanks for coming. Oh, I said that really with a load of feeling there, knowing that's the last time.
You're right, you're welling up.
Yeah.
Whisky and Things has been brought to you by And Things Productions.